Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.
Dozens of UC graduate students are facing potential expulsion. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The university's chancellor claims a group of student workers assaulted him. As KPBS education reporter MG Perez tells us, the allegations come from a deep-rooted contract dispute that led to a questionable demonstration last month.
In December, we signed a legally binding union contract with the university.
A group of UC San Diego graduate student workers was determined to be heard by the university's chancellor, Pradeep Khosla. Cell phone video shows what happened at this UCSD alumni event May 5th at the Museum of Contemporary Art in La Jolla. Alex Wenzel is a student researcher who was there to document what was supposed to be a peaceful protest. The group alleges the university has refused to implement new contract requirements for thousands of graduate and postgraduate employees.
Everything that I saw from my position in the audience indicated that this was a peaceful action. The chancellor did stand up on stage with the group. He eventually decided of his own accord to leave. So allegations that he was pushed off the stage or anything of that nature are not true and are borne out in the video.
University administrators don't see it that way. UC San Diego's Office of Student Conduct has launched investigations into Wenzel's actions and the actions of 66 other student employees who supported the May 5th demonstration. That includes Ahmed Alaboy and Maya Gustella, who are union stewards with the UAW 2865 local, which represented student workers in their contract negotiations and eventual contract ratification last December.
I think the administration is trying to target us and basically scare us into silence. They don't want to fix the issue, and so they think that by bringing these charges against us, we're going to be scared and we're not going to want to continue to organize to fix the issue.
The incident triggered charges from the Office of Student Conduct against the group, claiming physical assault, threatening the health and safety of a person, and obstruction of university activities.
I honestly thought it was just a mistake when I saw it, because I was like, surely someone made a typo or something. But absolutely, there was no contact of any kind, certainly not physical assault. There's no involvement of the police, so UCSD is basically the prosecutor and judge in this case.
What we know for sure is that whatever happened here at the museum last month, it was just one of several ongoing disagreements between UC San Diego administration and student workers. At the heart of it all is the interpretation of contracts approved by both sides. Chancellor Khosla has not commented about the incident, but the university's communication department gave KPBS News a statement that says, in part, if unions or individual union members believe that the university is not in compliance with its contractual commitments, collective bargaining agreements establish orderly processes to file grievances and have them adjudicated. Calculated disruption of official university business is never appropriate. So tonight, the interpretation of this event is still under investigation. MG Perez, KPBS News.
Community members filled a high school auditorium to hear the Carlsbad Unified School District's plan on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Adoption of the plan was on the agenda, but the vote didn't happen. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne says that didn't stop people from weighing in on the issue.
The auditorium of Sage Creek High School in Carlsbad was packed Wednesday night, ahead of a contentious school board meeting. Adoption of the school district's diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging plan was on the agenda. But the board president wasn't at the meeting, so the vote was postponed. That didn't stop dozens of people from speaking both in favor and against the district's DEIB plan.
We support education, not indoctrination. The DEI plan is just a new language for the critical race theory agenda.
DEIB is not divisive. It isn't CRT. It's supported by the National PTA, by the Board of Education, because they are in it for the children, not all of this other craziness. They are there to make sure our students are educated, well-rounded, and ready to move on to a diverse future.
DEI is failing worldwide. Industries and companies that have enthusiastically embraced DEI are currently failing. Companies like Disney, Victoria's Secret, Target, Netflix, Bud Light, just to name a few, are losing billions of dollars, have fired CEOs and their DEI staffs. Why set our children up for failure?
Rejecting the LCAP plan and DEIB budget based upon religious beliefs or biases against LGBTQIA+ individuals or any other historically marginalized group will be seen as discriminatory.
While no DEIB curriculum was presented during the meeting, a presentation showed the plan would be phased out over 3 years. The first year to include reviewing policies and training staff at an initial cost of $85,000.
The large bulk of the cost is around staff training, I believe. There is some student training once those student groups are identified, but the large bulk is around some staff professional development that they would do throughout the course of that first year.
District staff said they hope to launch a website that would host information for parents and community members to view the DEIB curriculum, staff development, and activities students are involved in at each campus. A vote on adoption of the DEIB plan was not scheduled, but is expected to happen at a later meeting when all board members are present. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Earlier this week, KPBS reported on traffic calming measures that the city was planning to install in Pacific Beach. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the city has abruptly put the project on hold.
1 week ago, the city put out a press release announcing Diamond Street in Pacific Beach would be getting new traffic diverters at 2 intersections. Diverters can improve safety by reducing cut-through traffic on quiet neighborhood streets. But days after the announcement, the city reversed course and halted the project indefinitely. Ryan Stock of the nonprofit Beautiful PB says he's disappointed.
We're talking about 2 intersections where you can no longer take a left turn in a private vehicle. That's it. And that's like the bare minimum we can do to encourage more biking and running and other users of the street.
Councilmember Joe LaCava's office told KPBS he asked for the delay after meeting with the project's opponents on Tuesday. Some of them threatened to lay down on the street to stop the installation from happening. Stock says the opposition to traffic calming on Diamond Street isn't new. In fact, the street has had temporary traffic calming measures for 3 years.
We've made so much progress. We've had so many discussions about this. And then right at the last minute, this very small coalition of people feels that they have the right to just dictate that no changes can be made to their city.
Councilmember LaCava has a meeting with city staff on Friday to learn more about the project. The city declined to say when or if the project would ultimately move forward. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
There are streetlights around San Diego that are equipped with cameras that can record our movements. They're not being used right now due to privacy concerns. KPBS SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge previews a meeting tonight at City Hall to decide whether the cameras should once again be used to combat crime.
Cameras on streetlights like this are able to record movements beneath and around them. San Diego police say they're a valuable asset to detect and deter crime, and police have come up with an updated plan to use them. But many people are expected to speak against that plan when it's presented tonight before San Diego's Privacy Advisory Board. Privacy advocates say they don't claim that they can stop the use of cameras in public places.
This technology is coming, and it's coming in large quantities, right? And it's going to be coming at us fast. And the perspective of our report is that when it comes, the police department needs to do a thorough job of explaining how they're going to put controls on it to use it properly.
Seth Hall and other critics of the police policy on using streetlight cameras say it does very little to assure residents that their privacy rights will be protected. For instance, the cameras do have the ability to look into people's private spaces. Hall says police are basically saying we should just trust that they will not do that.
It was very short, and it was extremely lacking in detail. It was not thorough. It passes on very few protections to San Diegans, and overall, it's just deficient.
Lieutenant Charles Lara, a spokesman for the police department, said these cameras will not be peering into people's windows, and there is no expectation of privacy in public places. He told KPBS, quote, "This technology has already been proved to be a valuable tool in prosecuting significant crimes. If a crime occurs, we want to see justice for victims of crimes, and our policy has lots of protections." In 2020, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer shut off the streetlight cameras in the face of public criticism. When the city's Privacy Advisory Board meets this evening, they can be expected to either recommend or not recommend the police policy for using the cameras again. Ultimately, the decision on whether to use the cameras will be up to the City Council. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
San Diegans may soon see an increase in their water bill. The San Diego County Water Authority voted to raise wholesale water rates by 9.5% in 2024. General Manager Sandra Curl says the increase is due to large energy bills and extreme inflation that's driving up the cost of everything, including steel, chemicals, and other materials. Oceanside resident Shelley Parker says that many seniors are struggling to pay for essentials.
To not put seniors and people who are struggling into a position where they have to apply for relief, because not everybody knows how to do that, and people are going without food.
The actual impact of the rate increase will vary by agency based on its use of the Water Authority's system and actual water purchases, which means water rates paid by residents and businesses will also vary. A sad update in the search for a missing submarine and the 5 people inside. The Coast Guard confirmed that debris found on the ocean floor near the Titanic is from the OceanGate submersible Titan. The Titan lost contact with its surface ship nearly 2 hours after it dove into the North Atlantic on Sunday. Chris Wynn has the latest.
The worst fears of many were confirmed in the search for a missing submersible Thursday.
This morning, an ROV, or remote-operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families.
Lost aboard the missing sub, Stockton Rush, CEO of OceanGate, the company leading the voyage. French researcher Paul-Henri Nargeolet, known as Mr. Titanic, who's been to the wreck more than 36 times. Aviation company chairman and adventure explorer Hamish Harding, and Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his teenage son Suleiman.
On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families.
The mission now changes to recovering the Titan and bringing closure to the families and colleagues of those who were aboard. In Boston, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
The House Ethics Committee is set to review a censure resolution against California Democrat Adam Schiff, and it involves Schiff's role in the first impeachment of former President Donald Trump and the Russia probe. And Amy Kiley explains it comes as Republicans plan a potential impeachment of their own.
Well, look, it's a badge of honor.
Representative Adam Schiff says a rare party line vote to censure him yesterday shows he did the right thing. It's over his role in the first impeachment of former President Donald Trump and the Russia probe.
Threatening national security, undermining our duly elected president, and bringing dishonor upon the institution.
Schiff says that's false and defamatory.
This is basically Trump and MAGA world going after someone they think is effective and standing up to them.
The resolution refers the matter to the House Ethics Committee, despite Democrats' objections.
They've turned it into a puppet show, and you know what? The puppeteer, Donald Trump, is shining a light on the strings.
The timing of the resolution is notable.
Will Representative Schiff present himself in the well?
Some Republicans want to vote on impeaching President Joe Biden this same week. The irony is not lost on House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who's trying to dissuade them.
We're going to censure Adam Schiff for taking us through impeachment and lying to the American public, and you want to turn around the next day and do the same thing. We just censored.
I'm Amy Kindly reporting.
A GOP-controlled Senate acquitted Trump in 2020. Those impeachment charges included abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. It did so again the following year after the House charged him with inciting the January 6th Capitol riot. We are less than 2 weeks away from the 4th of July, and several celebrations are planned across the county, and that includes the return of the Scripps Mesa fireworks show. The 45-year-old tradition has been on hiatus since 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. The show is organized by a nonprofit of the same name. Organizers say what makes their celebration unique from others is that it is funded entirely by local sponsors and community donations.
This one has a very community feel. It's a place for everyone in Mira Mesa, Scripps Ranch, surrounding areas to get together without having to drive down to the bay or anywhere outside the neighborhood.
This year's fireworks show has a new date and location. It will take place at Hourglass Field Community Park on Sunday, July 2nd, starting at 9. If you'd like to donate, you can visit MiraMesaFireworks.org.
All right, let's take a look at these weather headlines. A deeper marine layer that's going to bring also some gusty winds into the forecast. Meanwhile, we are talking about a slight uptick in temperatures by the weekend. And then looking ahead to next week, again, we could see some of that wind return as we head into the start of next week. Heading into tonight, Oceanside, you're down to 55. San Diego, 59. And Chula Vista down to the upper 50s. Borrego Springs, 57. Meanwhile, Mount Laguna with the wind, we are down to 45 degrees. Looking into the day tomorrow, we've got some cooler conditions. San Francisco down to LA, staying dry though, which is good news here for any outdoor plans as we head into your Friday. Sunshine for some of us like Borrego Springs, Mount Laguna, but again, that marine layer here, Oceanside down into Chula Vista, temperatures only into the lower 70s for tomorrow. As we head into the day on Saturday, high pressure is the dominant feature here. So I mentioned a slight uptick in temperatures for a nice start to the weekend as things do remain dry. So should be good to get out and about. If you're trying to head to the coast here, we still have those low clouds around for Friday and Saturday, but then some more sunshine on the way Sunday and Monday. Temperatures up slightly Monday and Tuesday into the lower 70s. Further inland, you'll notice a slight increase here in temperatures. Look at this. We're mid-70s by Saturday, upper 70s by Sunday, and then low 80s on the way Monday and Tuesday. So that's a nice increase in our temperatures. Your 5-day outlook for the mountains shows low 60s for Friday and Saturday, but upper 60s as we head into the day on Sunday. We'll have those breezier conditions kicking in, as I mentioned, as we wrap up the weekend and head into early next week. Your 5-day outlook in the desert, things have actually been not too bad, mid-90s, but we're in the upper 90s by Saturday, and then temperatures reach the triple digits here for several days, Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday, and it could be a little bit breezy throughout the day on Monday. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the News Hour, the search for the missing submersible comes to a tragic end. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
$250 million for a house. That's how much this Georgian classical mansion in Los Angeles' Bel Air community is selling for, making it the most expensive home for sale in the country. And it's called Casa Encantada, and it's 40,000 square feet. The estate was built in the 1930s on 8.5 acres adjacent to the Tony Belair Country Club, and it also features 60 rooms, including a card room, a screening room, and even a greenhouse. And by the way, the house was also the highest prized home when it sold back in 1980 and then again in 2000. KPBS is doing a series of stories about multiple generations living under the same roof. The San Diego region has one of the highest rates of multi-generational households in the country. KPBS reporter Scott Rodd has this story about a family from northeastern Africa that overcame major hardships before uniting under one roof.
The G'day household is buzzing. They're preparing an early dinner inspired by northeastern African cuisine. Bana is busy roasting and grinding coffee beans.
So you wait until it gets a little dark brown?
Her 10-year-old daughter, Honey, is grating ginger.
Here.
And Grace, the family matriarch, stands by watching with pride. She offers instructions here and there, speaking both English and Tigrinya, her first language. It's a scene that many families would take for granted, putting together a meal at the end of a busy weekday. But Grace says nothing about this moment was guaranteed.
I'm happy to live with my family again, because that's I miss, because my family, that's all I have.
Their story is a winding journey through homelessness, incarceration, addiction, and threats of deportation, culminating in sobriety, faith, and family unity. Grace's family is originally from the country of Eritrea, but moved to Sudan due to an ongoing war. Her village was poverty-stricken, and local terrorist groups made it dangerous for girls and young women.
We didn't have no light, electrics, and no school. They have a school, but my parents, they scared to send us to school because, they're gonna kidnap us.
She came here at 16 years old with her husband and their 1-year-old daughter, Bana. But their marriage soon crumbled. That left Grace lost in this new, unfamiliar place.
In this country, I don't have any families at all. Nothing.
She started drinking heavily, partying, searching for community and comfort in the wrong places, with the wrong crowd.
I don't care anymore because at that time I miss my families and I want to kill my pain.
It came at a cost. She got a DUI. Child Protective Services took her children. Grace buried the pain with more drinking. Eventually, she wound up living on the streets. Another DUI landed her in jail and then facing deportation.
The lawyer, he say, she gotta go. The judges say, I'm giving her a chance.
The judge believed in Grace, believed that she could get clean and get back on her feet. But another mistake would mean deportation and possibly never seeing her children again.
And after that, I never drink for 12 years. Never drink, never smoke marijuana, never do anything.
Her daughter, Bana, around that time, found herself on her own path to recovery. She had a turbulent childhood. She grew up in a group home and then a foster home, dropped out of high school, and like her mom, Bana struggled with addiction. And then she got pregnant.
I changed my life after my daughter, and then I got back on my feet again after my daughter, from being homeless, from being on the street.
Bana gave birth to her daughter, Honey, and moved into supportive housing. She reconnected with her mother, Grace, who wanted to help provide a better life for her granddaughter. Grace and Bana bonded over a newfound devotion to God and a shared commitment to staying sober. The family found an apartment in an affordable housing complex in City Heights, a coveted spot considering the scarcity of affordable housing in the region.
We share the space, taking care of my daughter and me taking care of my mom and my mom taking care of me and my daughter.
What's the best part about living with your mom and your grandma?
They're kind and they make problems go away.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Honey is heading into the 5th grade next year, and she's got no shortage of interests in school.
And my favorite subject is art, is my first one, and math, and playing with my friends in school and recess.
With stability under one roof, the family is focused on helping others in need, especially people living on the streets.
I got donation. I gave it to people.
They collect donations, anything from adult diapers to bottled water, and Grace hands out home-cooked meals, served with a side of wisdom from the gospel. She has a YouTube page where she posts videos of her outreach work. Bana is busy with classes, making progress towards her high school equivalency degree. She's hoping it will one day lead to a job working with children.
Like a child care or babysitting, because I love to work with kids.
Looking ahead, Bana hopes to find a bigger place to accommodate the family.
I hope and I pray, maybe 4 or 5 bedroom apartment, something, bigger, spacious.
She knows it might be tough with runaway housing costs in San Diego, but Bana isn't worried. She believes the family, all 3 generations, will live together for a long time, and that wherever they end up, it's not the number of rooms that define a home, but the people who share the space. Scott Rodd, KPBS News.
And to hear more of these stories, you can go to kpbs.org/roof. And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On NPR's Morning Edition, election workers nationwide are already bracing for threats as the 2024 presidential election looms. And we've received several reminders this week. We're amidst fire season. On Roundtable, we talked to CAL FIRE about our region's outlook for wildfires. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.